Okay, you guys, let's do this. It's going to be so professional. Like, so professional. Here we go. Welcome to the Live Support Podcast with your hosts, Michele VanDusen and June Colson, a couple of clean comedians who support each other and others through comedy's wacky and winding roads. I hope you're ready. Kids set, let's go! Since podcasts have a catchy tune, we wrote this song for Michele and June. Clean comedians are best friends too. Oh, it's so good. And you never know what they'll say or do. Here we go, sing with me on Live Support. With Michele, who's really short. We'll have a ball. With June, who's really tall. They have fun, interviewing comedians on Live Support. With Michele, who's really short. Now it's time to start Live Support.
The Live Support Podcast is brought to you by the Hot Breath Comedy Network.
Wow, give yourself a round of applause. Woo! That was magic. Welcome to the award-winning Laugh Support Podcast. I'm your host, June Bug Colson, here with Michele with 1L, Trish's sister, Rhonda Colson, Corey's friend. Don't call me Shelly, Michele VanDusen.
Actually, you can call me Shelly if you're referring to the Tiny Ocean Tales Christian media, the Allendale thing. The little, because I am Shelly, the little mollusk there. So
Yes.
the zebra, the striped zebra thing. Anyway, that would be the only time you can call me Shelly because that's a part I played. Okay.
Yeah, you are Shelly in an
Yeah.
animated series. So that's pretty cool. That's funny that,
Yeah.
for 5 seasons, I've been telling people not to call you Shelly. And then when they were like, hey, would you like to do a character named Shelly? You said yes. So apparently you don't have that much of a problem, Shelly.
Well, no, actually, no, don't call me Shelly. Never mind.
That's kind of fun, though. I feel like it's easier to have attitude, Shelly, than Michele. But Shelly's easier to kind of be sassy about, Michele.
Yeah. But you've never been like sassy or mean or like that towards me. So that
That's
would be
true.
really weird. I would think like we would be having a fight if you called me Shelly like that. So I'd be like,
Probably. And that's
Yeah.
never going to happen because
Yeah.
friends never fight.
are we supposed to fight? Okay,
No,
you know what?
you know
Fine.
what we do?
Okay, here's the deal. Here's the deal, June. Okay.
Yes.
Let me just put this out right now. Our episode today is about things that we love, right? But I'm thinking that there's going to be some things that you love that I really don't. So I think this might be where we get into it.
On the love episode,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
so contradictory to what we had talked about, Michele. And that really ticks me off, Shelly.
Listen up, Colson. I don't know.
You
Yeah.
did not. You did.
I
Okay,
did
today is the love episode. Let me remind you, love. We're gonna. Is that backwards or forward?
No,
Okay.
it's the right way.
It's the love episode. I'm so excited to talk about this. But first, let's do a little recap. You have another class with
Yes.
your kiddos at the school doing the comedy club, finding your funny comedy course with the
Yep.
kiddos. So what's on the without giving away your comedy course? What's the basic agenda today for the kiddos? Did they have
Let's
homework?
see. Today's agenda.
Mhm.
We have a snack, then we have a game, and then we're going to review our homework, and then we're going to go over joke structure, and we're going to select some jokes because we only have a few sessions until they do their performance. So we're going to select some of their jokes, and we're going to listen to and help them hopefully get started on their first intro, which is basically this is what I call it, intros for the kids, but it's basically like a monologue about you. So it's anyway, so that's the gist of what we're doing today. Whether we have the time or not, that it's very fluid and flexible because kids can either talk a lot or they not, just what we're going to pull out of them or what they're going to show. I don't know. I didn't see them last week, so they had 2 weeks to work on their homework, so we'll see what they bring. We will see
Yes.
what they bring today.
It's very much like comedy, though. You kind of make a plan,
Yeah.
but you're not really sure how the time is going to lay out. So you have enough to fill the time, but you can't go over the time. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's very comedy-ish, if that's a word. Very comedic-ish. Shh.
Yeah, they have the kids have a straight time frame. They have to leave the building.
Right. Right.
Parents are out front, so it's not like we can, push a little more. It's not like when you're at church and the pastor and in closing, and then he goes another 10 minutes.
I won't keep
And
you
in
long.
closing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah.
you're kidnapping children at this point if you don't let them leave. So, like, that's not the goal of your comedy course. I don't think is to catch some charges. So,
Okay, that would be a really funny movie, holding hostages.
Mhm.
Like, we should do something like that. Like, that would be such a fun movie, working with kids, working with that kind of oh my gosh, and it's all over comedy.
Michelle,
Not
I feel like you're sticking to a really criminal theme. The last couple episodes. Last episode was pros and
yeah.
cons was our title with Jared Meyer, and
Yeah.
yeah. So I think now you're going to kidnap children. This is going
No,
so
no,
sideways. This is the Valentine love episode, and now
there's
we're
a
kidnapping children.
difference. There's a difference between kidnapping and holding hostage. There's two totally different. That'd be two different charges.
Gotcha.
So just anyway.
Well, let's avoid that. I did a show this weekend, this last weekend at the Goat Cafe, Goat Coffee Cafe in Mount Juliet, Tennessee. Yeah,
Is goats drink coffee?
just the bad ones. Yeah, thanks for asking. Okay, so I'm trying to look up who I did the show with, because I remember the first names but not the last names. Bryn Daniels was the host of the show. She's in the Brentwood area and outside of Nashville. Always little tiny beautiful little lady comics that I get to work with. So little and so cute. And then I was like a 50-foot giant that comes on stage after her. There's a guy named Jason that featured, and I'll come up with his last name in a minute. And then Lee Harden was the closer, and I got to feature, and it was super fun, man. Yeah, they packed out this coffee house. I'm trying to make sure I say exactly what it is. Billy Goat Coffee Cafe. Billy Goat Coffee Cafe.
Okay, that sounds a little better.
It was pretty awesome. Veteran owned. And then it was put on by Comedian Discovery. Or Discoveries. Comedian Discoveries. I gotta make sure I say everything right. Comedian Discovery. Yes. Amazing dude named Josiah that had booked me. And he's a veteran as well, I believe. Just amazing, awesome people. This coffee house was standing room only. They packed it out at almost 70 people.
Wow.
Sold out. More people kind of snuck in a little bit. And yeah, the audience was rocking, absolutely rocking. I had so much fun. The Comedian Discovery is putting on amazing shows. This coffee house, the Billy Goat Coffee Cafe, great coffee, great food. Everyone who worked there was so sweet. Like, it was awesome. So, yeah, I said if every comedy show that we did got to be that much fun, I would be like 5 times a day. Let me do a show like that, because they were amazing. So, yeah. So that was my recap for the weekend. So this weekend, it made me love comedy. The show I did before that, maybe I wasn't loving it so much. So we'll talk about that another day. But today we wanted to talk about, because this is coming out right at Valentine's, and we wanted to talk about the things that we love about comedy. And we're going to stick to 5. So 5 things that I love. 5 things. Give me 5, Michelle. 5 things. There we go. That I love and that you love about stand-up comedy. So do you want to start? Do you want to start with your number 1? And this is not necessarily what we love in order of like, number 1, I love this the most. It's just 5 things we love.
Yeah. I love the isolation. No.
That's next episode.
Yeah. I love meeting new people. I just love it. I love, having the opportunity to meet new people, to go into new churches, to go into new areas. It's just one of those things that I really enjoy. I'm a people person, so that's one of the things that I love. What about you? You love
That's
meeting new people?
that's pretty close to my number one, my first number one, then my second number one, my third number one. Okay, just like you, number one, I had written down new friends and relationships. I do love meeting. I always say I'm the lobby comic. I love doing the stand-up comedy, but the part I love the most after a good show, if it's a bad show, sometimes it's awkward. But I love getting to meet people in the lobby
Yeah.
and make new friends and connections. And now they've seen me on stage, but now I want them to be seen and let them tell me their jokes and, and
Yeah.
just have those conversations. But also the new friends and the relationships. Like you and I, we have a pretty tight circle of comedic friends. There's, the inner circle is some female Christian comedians from across the
Mhm.
country that
Yeah.
we get to pour into, pray with, spend time with, talk about the bad gigs, talk about the good gigs. And it's more than just our comedy life that we support each other in. It's our
Yeah.
personal life, our relationships with our children, our spouses, work, all of those things. And we do this podcast because comedy brought me my best friend and my best friends, like in the
Yeah.
entire world. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have these friendships and these relationships.
I concur. I think that is the best, new friends, new relationships, meeting new people, all those things that kind of merge together. So, yes, I like it. I like it. You know what? I don't like it. I love it. All right, June, tell us, what is your a second thing that you love
My
about
second
doing
thing.
comedy?
Okay. Oh, I meant to bring my cups in here. I love to travel. I don't maybe love the process of traveling, but I love to get to travel and go to new places and see new things, My dad's always like, I don't know why you want to go out of the country when there's so many beautiful things to see in the United States. And he's on to something there.
Yeah, he
There's
is.
so many cool cafes, neighborhoods, just driving down the roads, roadside attractions. This last year I went to North Carolina, I went to Missouri, and it gives you a different perspective. Like I had just been in North Carolina and South Carolina right before the hurricane hit. I had stayed up in the mountains, I
Mhm.
had gone hiking. I was just outside the Biltmore, and
Wow.
this was right before the hurricane came through and it just devastated that area. And it's not just a place you've never seen or a spot on the map. It's like, wow, I was just there. I've seen this place. I've met
Yeah.
people who live in, it makes you pray different. It makes you empathize in a different way, I
Mhm.
think, when you've been there. And yeah, and so yeah, it gives me excuses to go to the beach. My husband loves to travel. He has a job that he can go with me. So yeah, traveling, seeing the country, staying in cool places, murder motels
Wait,
and
what?
murder. There are some places, I'm pretty sure I've stayed in some Airbnbs where like that was the last stop for the people who stayed in the Airbnb. But it's funny and it's an adventure if you don't die. And I'm still here. So I
Yeah,
love
I
the
love not
adventure.
dying.
Yeah. Yeah. I love not dying. What about you, Michelle?
Um,
What's your
see, the thing is I think when we edit this or put our little clip up,
yeah.
I think if we just pause it right between, because right after you just said murder, but not, and just pause it right there because you took a long enough pause. We just cut it right there. That's what made me laugh. And then you continued hotel.
I love murder. Murder's my favorite. That's good. That's it's gonna be a true crime podcast. Now we got pros, we got cons, and murder.
That's why you have to travel so much. I see you. I see
Yeah,
you.
I'm actually on the road. I'm in hiding. I'm not really a tourist. I'm just trying not to get caught. So
Yeah, it goes with your joke about the aliases, so
yes,
just
yeah.
saying. My second, thought that what I love about comedy, it's fun telling jokes. It's fun being able to tell jokes, which it kinda, connects with the travel a little bit because you have to go somewhere to tell the jokes, and it's fun when, I love it if a joke lands right.
Mhm.
people get it and they laugh and they enjoy it. I love that whole process of, I was able to give somebody an opportunity to to laugh
Yeah.
and it's when people are cackling like that, because they just
Mhm.
keep laughing so much that they just can't control themselves. Like that's the best stuff. And when you're telling jokes and then someone doesn't get it and the person next to them tells them
Yeah.
and then they get it. So it's that whole, like, I told a joke then and then seeing people retell your joke. That's awesome. So I love that kind of thing.
I'm kind of a creeper like that. Like when someone else is on stage, um, I I'm watching the audience members. Like I'm listening to what they're saying because there may be something you can play off of. But I'm watching like the reactions of people in the room. Like that gives me joy. At the Billy Goat Coffee Cafe, it was so tight. I mean, literally, like my opening joke was, if they don't laugh, this is so intimate that if you guys don't laugh, I can just reach out and tickle each one of you individually. Like I will do that if I have to. But it was that close. Like
Yeah.
we were right on top of these people. They packed everybody in. And it was laughs, just laugh after laugh after laugh. But there was a guy in the back of the room when Lee was up. I was watching him and he had a loud, like giggle laugh
Yeah.
and he kept covering it because it was such a loud laugh. You could tell, like, he knows that he has an over the top laugh, just wiping the tears and like holding the laugh in, but it was still loud. Like you could still hear his laugh just fine. And that's so much fun to
Oh, that's
see, to
good.
just see people having that kind of joy. And then, you get to tell a comedian later, like, man, this guy in the back, when you were up, was about to fall out of his chair, like
Yeah.
crying, laughing. And and that was when Lee was on stage. I knew Lee couldn't see this guy back there. But yeah, just telling the jokes and seeing the joy. That's huge. Yeah.
So, uh, when you were there and it's wall to wall people, did you like crowd surf to get to the stage?
That's hilarious because when I said, "Okay, how are we getting up there?" The Josiah from Comedian Discovery, he goes, "I think we're just crowd surfing. We're just going to crowd surf you up there." Like that's funny. Like he had already mentioned that. Michelle, you're on the same wavelength because and I said that would be awesome. Just make sure you get it on tape. The first crowd surfing,
Yeah.
right? Comedian entry or whatever. I don't think I've ever seen a comedian crowd surf onto stage, but it would have worked in that room.
Could you, yeah, that and if the comedian's name was Mike, it's like, "Oh, mic drop."
Yes, yes, Michelle. We're gonna start with your jokes early, aren't we? Okay, love it. Love it. Thanks for that. What's your number 3? What's your third favorite love of comedy?
Well, it connects with it's fun telling jokes. I love the fact that comedy, when done right, can bring people joy. And, you know, throughout all of the history of mankind, people need to have joy.
Yeah.
And they need, because living on this earth, being a human, it's rough.
Mhm.
Life is rough. I mean, things happen to you, things happen through you. Like there's just all these things rough.
Reggie
I hate it.
agrees. Reggie
Yeah.
agrees that it's rough.
Is it rough, Reggie? Reggie rough?
You said rough, and he's like, he bumped my hand about that time. Like, I hear her. Just a
Aw,
Reggie. Okay.
Reginald.
He's
We
struggling with this podcast, so he's not loving it. Okay, go ahead.
love it.
Life is rough.
Um,
Okay, Reg.
yeah, so it just brings people joy, and I love that they have an opportunity to kind of just take, 90 minutes out of their life
Mhm.
to laugh. And so yeah. So that's one of the things. Anyway, what is your number 3?
Number 3. Okay. Just creativity. I don't know why I had so many syllables in that word, but creativity.
Creativity.
Yeah.
I have creating is what you sent me.
Yeah, well, creating creativity, like getting to be creative, like I remember the first time after I started doing stand-up comedy and God like gave me this avenue, this creative avenue. And I'd always
Mhm.
been a creative person and just
Yeah.
in different ways. And then realizing, oh wow, like that's 100% like a God um given trait from our Father, right? Because our
Yeah.
Father is the Father of creation. He is creative. Like we get to look outside, see these beautiful trees and, rainbows in the sky and all of the beautiful things that he's created. I mean, nature is amazing. And so I was like, oh, no wonder it feels good to create something. So I love getting to be creative, and I love getting to see life through the lens of laughter. Last Christmas, I think maybe you gifted me masterclass, like a subscription or whatever, to be able to watch some master classes.
Yeah.
And I think I've talked about this before, but one of the writers, I think it's like a New York Times, somebody from the New York Times or something, who's a comedic writer, said, I feel sorry for people who aren't writers, and I really feel sorry for people who aren't comedic writers. And he said, because, if a bad thing happens to you, it's just a bad thing. But a bad thing happens to us, and later it gets to be a good story.
Yeah.
And I've got one of Reggie's, like a piece of fur on my lip where I gifted him. Anyway, that's going to bug me.
Are we sure it's his?
Maybe. Or maybe, no, I'm getting, I turned 50
Hang on,
this
lean
year.
a little closer. Let me get that for you.
One whisker, one. Okay, it's
No,
not.
there's more than one. Okay, you're gonna have to take care of that. You have to wax that.
It's stop it. Stop. Yeah, I'm gonna be 50. I'm gonna be 50 this year. That's crazy. So I'm sure mustaches are coming and gray hair is coming. I mean, I'm gonna fight it. I'm gonna. Anyway, back to the subject. So you gave me the master class, and he said that when something bad happens to us, it becomes a funny story later, right?
Yeah.
And I've always lived my life like that, just not realizing, and that was just a great way to point it out. When negative things happen, and I've said before on here, like my funny is the familiest. My family is the funniest. Let's rewind that. My family is the funniest at a funeral. It's the alliteration, all the F's.
Everybody is.
Because you're telling stories, you're thinking about the funny things that happen. It's a time that like you just need that relief because you're in such a deep direction of sadness that you just go with the funny to kind of pull yourself through it. And so, I love being able to be creative, and I love to get to look through life through the lens of funny. And even in some dark moments that I've been in, there's things that I'm seeing around me that it's like, this is so sad. But here's an example. Okay. I have a cousin, I think I've talked about, well, you've met Dina. Have you met Dina?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Met Dina. Dina's blind.
Yeah.
She's an amazing singer. She is so funny. Anyway, my grandmother was passing away. She can't see what's going on in the room. My cousin Angel is bedside with my grandma. There's this emotional moment happening. And the next thing you know, you hear Dina go, yeah, I'd like to get 2 large pizzas, a pepperoni. And she doesn't know that like grandma may be passing in this moment. And Dina picks up her phone and she's calling for pizza. And
that's fabulous.
Grandma didn't die in that moment, but grandma had such a great sense of humor that she would have found it hilarious that Dina was.
You know why she didn't die in that moment? Because she's like, oh, pizza, could you put in?
Yeah. She's like, wait a minute, pepperoni? I'm going to stick around. But so in that moment, it's like really sad. But then Dina, right? And it broke that tension with this humor. It was so good. And then then her sister was like, Dina, and kind of clues her in on what's going on, right? So Dina goes from pepperoni pizza to Amazing Grace. Like, what just happened? But I guess that like my grandmother, the saint of the family, she, and she's someone I know was going to be with Jesus. We're just going to miss her for a little while. So I was able to like see that moment rather than being offended or hurt or, whatever. She's ordering pizza. It was hilarious. And to this day, it's just a funny story that my cousins and I tell. So we get to look at life, even sad or dark moments. We still get to have that joy that God gives us and see things with a lens of laughter. So I love getting to do that. Okay. Number 4. What's 4 for you, VanDusen?
Well, actually, let's go to your number 4 because it kind of flows into your lens of laughter. Your let's go with your 4.
Yes. Okay. So number 4 that I love about comedy is the impact that it has on friends, family,
Yeah.
and communities.
Yeah.
I love it's not about me being on stage or like big moves or big moments like, oh, I
Mhm.
want everyone to think I'm great. Um, I had somebody at church one time, they were like, "Oh, wow, looks like you're doing big things. I see your schedule, this and that." And at that point, I was very dismissive because I didn't want anybody to think that I thought I
Mhm.
was something or, whatever. And so I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it just looks that way on social media." Or, "Oh," so
Mhm.
I'd be kind of
Yeah.
dismissive about it. And I can't remember who said this to me, but they said, don't take their joy
Yeah. Stop
from
it.
that moment, like, because I was so concerned about I don't want to present myself as something I'm not or pretend to be
Mhm.
something that I'm not. And they were like, "This person is following you. They are proud of you. They're excited that you're doing this
Yeah.
thing that God called you to do. Let them have that joy for you. Don't
Yeah.
don't squash it. So now I do better about just going, "Oh, thanks so much. I'm having a good time. We're out here doing it. And that's about it. But I definitely don't. But what I realize is they're watching. They're excited about my journey.
Yeah.
And if a lot of times like they think I'm doing something special and they know me, like comedy special comes out, whatever, and they're like, she's a comedian. She's like, that's my friend. And then if I dismiss myself, then I kind of dismiss what was making them
Yeah.
feel special. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
do love that, like, when there's shows and family comes, that they feel special. They feel special because they think you're special up there
Mhm.
and they're a part of your life.
Yeah.
And so I love that people get to feel special. I also love that, like, I've seen moments where my family was going through some really hard times and they came to a show, and I've got to see a headliner just make my family laugh for 45 minutes to an hour,
Mhm.
right? And see how much fun they had. And we don't get to know the inside story of what everybody's dealing with in their lives that's in the room, right?
Yeah.
But there's been many times where I've had a friend or a family member come that I'm like, wow, they're going through some stuff. And this, what I'm doing, they got to have a moment to step away and relax. And then the other thing is community. I love what it does for
Mhm.
community. You and I
Yeah.
both have been able to be a part of fundraiser shows
Yes.
that makes a difference in people's lives and animals' lives and foundations, getting to be with Chester and act silly at a Bigfoot festival that was raising money that was going to help his foundation that honors his son who passed away and that helps out with EMS,
Mhm.
emergency workers that they're pouring into that community. I
Yeah.
got to help this year with a fundraiser for Release the Hounds that helps with animals. And yeah, there's been cancer
Yeah.
fundraisers. I've been a part of an adoption fundraiser this year. Like, that's just a few that I can think of off the top of my head. And I know you've done many shows like that.
I've
And
done
so,
a lot of the outreaches. So, like, if they're,
yeah,
having music and comedy in the park, or they're having a comedy night, like, that's what the Funny Together tour is really about, is
yes,
bringing
yeah.
people from the community into a church, that would not normally go there.
You
Like,
also did the
so
Leslie Norris Townsend. That was,
mhm. Yeah, that was, John 3:16 Ministries. That was amazing.
yeah,
Because that ministry is huge, and how they impact their community. It's not just, "Oh, hey, come, let's do this." Like, they're changing lives, which
yeah.
then changes the community for the better. I mean, it's amazing what they do. So, yeah, I love that you love having an impact on family, friends, and communities. I love that, and I I also know that, um being part of those type of shows, raising funds or reaching the community and things like that. A lot of people will request the artists to do it free, to donate their time and things like that. And
Right.
but then no, because a lot of times that's actually then a detriment to the artist. Like, because they can only donate so much of their talent at certain times.
Right, right.
So it's nice when all the parties get to be benefited,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
You get to still keep your children fed and you get to feed the community. So that's
Yeah.
a win-win. I like win-wins.
Yeah, and I think, starting out, that was really difficult for me to kind of process of like, well, how do I let someone pay me if it's raising money for, well, you know what? Let them pay you. And if you decide that you want to donate that back,
Yes.
you can do that or a portion of that back, you
Mhm.
can. I think that that's definitely something that I'm prayerful about. I've done
Yeah.
events for free before, and I've done events, that I'm getting paid for. But not to let someone force you because I mean, we could be
Mhm.
doing free shows every single day. And I
Yeah.
remember Lisa Mills, who I met through the CCA, said, you can only do free for so long, and then you don't have gas in your tank. I mean, you've
Mhm.
got to be able to get there. And David,
Figuratively and literally. You don't
yeah,
have gas in your tank. Yeah.
yes. And David Pendleton, his wife, I remember her making this statement of when someone asks for something free, I let them know there's no free shows. Somebody is paying, whether it's
Mhm.
you all financially compensating or because she books her husband. So she's like,
Yeah.
he's paying with his gas, his hotel, his time. Our
Mhm.
kids are paying because their dad is gone.
Yeah.
And, so there's always someone who pays.
Yeah.
There really is always someone who pays. So you're not really doing it for free. You're kind of paying
Yeah.
it in some sense to do that show. But you know, it's okay to not do every fundraiser show for free.
Yeah.
That's all right. I
Yeah.
think it's just
That's all
that
right.
balance of knowing, you know, that the reality is somebody does pay, and for people like us of faith, then you just run it by God because He'll cover if He says
Yep.
go. You should go. But
Yeah, he
but
does.
yeah, the communities, and you've done that for years. You've given to your communities, and I love that. I love
I
that, Michelle.
love that.
Okay, what do you love
Love
number
it.
4?
Okay, so my number 4, it's comedy is healthy for you. It's very,
Mhm.
very healthy to laugh. Um, it's especially when so many people right now have so much stress on, well, we've always had stress, on us.
Yeah,
And when you laugh, it lowers your blood pressure, it increases the endorphins, it helps your lungs, it helps your liver, like your whole body feels better after laughing. And the harder you laugh, the healthier you are. And if the more you laugh in life, the more healthy you are and the more fun you are to be around. Because if
yeah,
you're always just, so many people are just always in this, focused of all the negative, "Nah, nah, nah,
mhm,
nah, 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 nah." But if you can focus on the joy, you can focus on the lightheartedness, then you're just a healthier person all around. And so, like, having a healthy mindset, because so, we have so many people that are in depression and stuff. Lift your head up, start
yeah,
looking around, and, enjoy life. And so it's very, very healthy for you. And that's what I love about comedy. It's just, and it's something that's just been innate in me my whole life.
yeah,
I don't, I mean, I've had moments where people have tried to squelch it. I've had, well, I've had a lot of people have tried to squelch it, and I've bought into some of those lies for a
mhm,
while. And that was, those kind of things are hard to dig out of. But when you do, you realize, what was I doing over there?
mhm,
Like, why was I thinking on those things? Why was I in that pit? Because you started believing what somebody else said about you. You started believing, you're not any good. And you're like, oh, and then you have a bad show, or you have a bad moment in life, or you get fired from something. You're like, ah, see, I knew it. And then you
yeah,
get all these things that start, going with that story. So if you can change your story and start looking at the positive, and it just helps. And it's a healthier for you, and it's a healthier mindset. It's healthy all around. A merry heart doeth good like a medicine.
yeah,
There's medical documentation
mhm,
that they've studied like cancer patients, and they're all getting the same medicine, except there's a group here that got to watch comedies, got to watch fun movies and things like that, and they started laughing, and they were getting healthier, And then the other group, they just kept going down, 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 down. And so it's medically been proven that laughter and joy gets you healthy. So it's healthy for you, girl. And I love it. Love it.
Yes. Yeah. I do a couple opening jokes about laughter if I'm hosting, but it is health facts. One of them is that a study showed that people with a good sense of humor lives 8 years longer than other people. 8 years of your life, right? And then another one was for every 100 laughs, it's equal to 10 minutes on a treadmill.
Yeah.
100 times to laugh, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So I look like the Joker. After I read that statistic, I look like the Joker. Everywhere I went, I was like, I'm not gonna have to work out today. I'm just
Yeah, that's a little different. But I just want to say that I laugh at the fact that you think I should be on a treadmill.
yeah.
So
Treadmill. Boo. This is a
and
love.
if people
Yeah.
tune in, especially, I'm telling you, if people tuned in and listened to our episode with Sherry Nettles,
Yes.
and that was deep down belly laughs almost through the whole thing, and we were talking about death, right?
Death the whole time. Yeah. And
Death,
again,
death was
my
covered.
mother.
Yeah,
She did kill my mother. So go back and
yeah,
find the episode of Sherry Nettles. The other thing though, that healthy wise,
yeah,
and this may be a little too deep for a top 5, whatever, but it's also such a, I think it's a good measurement of healthy relationships.
mm-hmm.
The people you are laughing with are usually the people you're closest with, the people that
Yeah.
that and I will say that, like, 29 years of marriage, and that's a really red flag sign in our relationship when you realize, man, we're not laughing together. I
Yeah.
really think, and I don't know, maybe I'll look it up one day and see if there's like a statistic about that, about couples who laugh together. But it's usually the inside jokes that are the funniest in
Yeah.
relationships. And I'm happy to say my husband and I laugh probably 10 times a day together now. Like we're in a non-red flag moment in our life. But I think it also shows the health of a relationship with somebody
Yeah.
is the people that you laugh with. You're one of my best friends because we laugh together all the time. My niece, Brooklyn, hilarious. She cracks me up. Like, I love being with her because I feel like I get to just be, like my inner child comes out and we get
Yeah.
to laugh together. So I think it shows some healthy relationships too. When you think about, like, the people you have the most healthy relationships with are people you're probably laughing with a lot too. You think?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. And what's nice, what you said is that you're laughing with, not
Yeah.
laughing at.
Yeah.
It's when you're laughing with someone that actually brings not only a deeper joy but a deeper connection.
Yeah.
And I do love that. And it's good to laugh. It's really, really good to laugh.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. So what is your fifth? Because we were going to do top 5. What is
Um,
your fifth thing that you love about comedy?
Freedom, freedom.
Freedom.
Yes, I like to freak Reggie out. He does not like my singing. Hey, Puppy, you so old. Um,
Freedom.
I love the freedom that you get in comedy, the freedom to be creative,
Mhm.
freedom to be home, to block out dates with family. Like, my son's getting married this year. And then I have another, kiddo in my family, friend family that is getting married as well. And so I can decide I'm not working,
Mhm.
the week before, or 5 days after, or whatever,
Yeah.
for when my son gets married. I probably won't work that month. I don't plan on doing shows, the whole month of October this year, because it's going to be so much planning and prepping and things coming up. But we'll see what works out. But
Ooh.
the thing is, I have the freedom to be in control of that and
Yeah.
decide the dates that, I want to be home, and I can plan ahead for vacations and things like that. Now, of course, if tomorrow Jimmy Fallon called and was like, we're going to need you on October 10th or whatever, I'm sure my kids would, be lenient on that as far as the wedding goes. But the reality is, for the most part, we have the freedom to block out dates. I get to be home
Mhm.
during the week. I get to be home, do podcasting, so I can take care of my dad's medications. I can go to doctor's appointments with them. I'm not always available, but I'm available more than my brother, who's a police officer, my sister who's a teacher, because they're working Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So yeah, there's actually a lot of freedom in different areas.
Freedom.
Yeah. What about
I
you?
love that. I love that you are free to do all those things. And for our listeners, if you were planning on booking June for October, I'll take those dates. Okay. All right. My fifth thing that I love is people watching and being more aware of life.
Yes.
I love watching people. It's just fun because, it just is. It's fun to watch people, and then sometimes you can sit there. We've done this a few times, like when we've been out for dinner and we'll see somebody across the restaurant, not close around, but like across the restaurant,
Yes.
somebody that catches our eye, like, oh, what's their story, and then you could just, and it lights up the creativeness,
Yes.
or watching people at the mall, just interactions with kids and whatever. I don't know. I just love it. People at church. I mean,
Yes.
I love watching. And then, so like, I like sitting there's a section in our church called the Triangle. And, it's where all these hallways kind of meet. And then they have chairs and some couches, and they have monitors. You can watch the service or whatever.
And then people just disappear in the church triangle. Just
it's not like that, but they can. Especially if you're at a different hallway, you see them go that way. So then you go to the triangle seat and you're like, where are they? They should have crossed. No, they took a turn somewhere.
The rapture zone. We don't know.
Yeah, they're down in the nursery hall. We don't know. But anyway, so you have those tables, and so you can sit there before service or after service, and because people just congregate and just meet and stuff. And it's fun to watch when you see like the same kid going back and forth.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I don't know if their parent knows that they're running right now. Like, it's just like they're going from here, and then you see a kid playing tag, and then you just kind of scan the crowd to kind of see, okay, who's their parent? Just because it's fun. And then, you always see the little babies and their parents, and then you just, and then of course, then you see your friends. It's just, I love watching just people living, the life of people. And then, of course, being more aware of all the things around. So I guess it kind of connects with your traveling, because there's places I've been this year that I would never have gone if I wasn't doing comedy.
Yeah.
I would never have been, been aware. Like, we were in Connecticut, and Orange, Connecticut. And if I didn't have my head up and I wasn't looking around, because I was a passenger, while we're driving, because if you're driving, you better have your head up. You better be paying attention. But I started reading the road signs, and then there was a sign that said, next exit, the Pez factory. And I was like, oh, we got to go. Or Pez Welcome Center. That's what it was. Pez Welcome Center. Well, I love Pez. I'm like, we got to go. So, if I wasn't aware at that time, we would not have stopped. We wouldn't have seen it. We wouldn't have gone there. We wouldn't have had the experience that we had. And it was so much fun. Like, if you're ever in Connecticut, right, Orange, Connecticut. Anyway, go to the Pez Welcome Center. It's like $5, and you could do Pez bingo and see all the Pez's from when they first started to the end.
I love that you started this story like very serious and the power of observation. If I wasn't looking up, I would have missed. And I was thinking like a missing person or someone broke down on the side of the road and you guys stopped to help, and you're like, I would have missed Pez, an opportunity for Pez, Michelle. This is why I love you so much. There's like a missing person that you could have saved, and they were probably standing by the Pez sign, and you're like, oh, look, that looks like Pez. That's a Pez.
It was so much fun. You have to go.
So wasn't there a comedian representative in the Pez?
Yes. Yeah. So, and I didn't realize that, because there's hundreds of little Pez's, get the whole history. And in the Pez Welcome Center, there's one Pez that and it has like a tire on it, kind of a thing. But then the plaque and something else on it, because I missed it,
Yeah.
because I wasn't aware enough that it's Earl Music. He has a Pez dispenser in there, so they like I guess they created it for him or they dedicated it to him. I don't know. I don't know the story behind it. I think he shared it with us at one point, but his Pez is in there, so go check it out.
Yeah.
Like, go see. Anyway, so yeah,
If
yeah,
you
be
take
more aware.
nothing out of this love podcast,
We love
we would,
Earl.
we would love for you to see the band that we love, Earl Music. His Pez, that Michelle, with her power of observation, can only give us minimal details about. Because her number 5 is what? What was your 5 again, Michelle? Number 5? People watching and being more aware. More aware of life. So yes, yeah, it's listen, we're the expert on most everything. It pretty much is what this proves. I love it. I love it. I love it. You know what?
Hey, go ahead. Go ahead. Then I got something else.
Well, I'm looking at the time. I know that you have got to get out of here and get prepared for those sweet kiddos. So yeah, so let's do the tip of the day. Because we're
Wait.
great with tips right now. Like go see the Pez.
Wait, before we go to the tip of the day, I have a bonus thing that I love.
Oh, good. Oh, good, Michelle. Just one more. So 11.
I love collecting cups, right? From the places I've been through comedy. If I didn't do comedy, I wouldn't have gone to all these places. Like, and it's like a timeline too.
Uh-huh.
So like when I was at the Looney Bin, this was pre new owner, because now the new owner made new cups, right?
Ooh.
Yeah. So it's like, oh, and then like I know this one, we were both there, right? The dry bar cup. So the point is, I love collecting things as we travel, and I'm a cup collector. I've got coffee cups, I've got all the things. So
Yes. You've given me some cups when we've met up. You gave me a cup from Tulsa. I tell you what started me on the cup collection. Rhonda gave us a Starbucks. They have coffee cups from the different like major cities and stuff that they're in. And Rhonda Corey moment, gave us one from Rhode Island. And so now I just buy the Starbucks cup because I can get it at the airport. It's not something I have to pack. I'm not like looking for a souvenir or a reminder, whatever.
Yeah.
So now I have like a Starbucks cup from Missouri, and they stack really well inside my pantry or whatever. And I look back, and even like there's a few just personal trips. Like I went to Jamaica last year, so I have a Jamaican, one from Jamaica, and so I kind of got the cup thing too. So yeah, I'm collecting things as well. For people who were listening, you got to go back and watch all the mini cups that Michelle just pulls out of nowhere from her comedic journeys.
Yeah, and I only pulled a few. Like I could have pulled several of them. We would have been here for another hour and a half if I showed you my cups.
Yes.
But I didn't. So you're welcome. You know what? On that, I love that you give us a tip of the week.
The tip of the week. And I always write tip of the day, and then I always correct myself because we don't have a daily podcast. We have a weekly podcast, and nobody really cares but me. But our tip of the week is love notes. Love notes. We're on the love. Did you write the wrong thing, Michelle?
I did.
Did you write next week's on there?
I did.
That's okay. So you can remember. It's a love podcast, and it's the love notes. So I wrote down that I'm going to start creating a love note to read when I'm struggling in comedy. And so I'm just going to do a note in my phone after shows when I think about it, the things that I loved about that show. And so, what I loved about it, write a love note about why I love comedy, why I'm worthy of, why you are worthy of love outside of my craft. Yeah, that was going to be the other part of my love note, is that it's not just comedy that makes me worthy of love, right?
Yeah.
That I have other attributes and other things that are special about me that God created in me, and that I am not what I do. And
Mhm.
so I think it's a good idea that, to just write a love note about why you started, the
Well,
things
that's
that you
good.
love about it, so that when you're having a moment and you are struggling, you can just kind of open up and read just a few bullet points of, man, I remember that lady saying to me this, whatever, at this show. I remember watching, people laugh and wipe the tears off their
Yeah.
face at the Billy Goat Coffee Cafe. I remember doing a show in Indiana 2 years in a row, and these little kids coming up who had seen me the year before and just being so thrilled and got to take pictures, and he told me jokes. And so writing a love note of
Mhm.
moments that I've loved about comedy, just to pull out and remind myself why I love what I do, and also that
Mhm.
I am not what I do, and that there are many other things to love in life and to love about myself besides just the jokes that I tell on stage.
Oh,
So
I love that. I love that so much. You could also like take that one step farther, that once you've done this through the year, then you could take one per month kind of a thing and then just make yourself like a little snapshot kind of calendar
yeah,
and when you're feeling down or when you're not on, on that high, you can go back and go and just look at all the positive, and it'll bring you back to, okay, I can do this. I can keep going because of
yeah,
this happened. All the wins. You got to keep all the wins up there. So I
yeah.
love your love notes. That's a great tip of the week, Joan. What?
Thanks, Michelle. You know what else I love about this podcast? I love that we balance things out. I'm tall, you're short, I'm unfocused, you're intelligent. There's
No,
lots
no, girl. No, no, no.
there's a lot of balance in this podcast. That's what I'm saying. Real verses in the Bible, and I know the June bug versions of what I
Look,
think I read.
girl, no, girl, we both know. You just have to get it and read it. You gotta just open it up and then just read it, and there
I
you
do, but
go.
it
So
still comes out my mouth like a kindergartner. Like,
yeah.
I'm really not.
That's the childlike like faith. See,
That's
so you're
it.
right on target. You're right on target what you're supposed to be doing. Um, I mean, it's good. It's good. It's good to eat the word. You're supposed
Yes,
to love eating the word. Is that's a Christianese type of a thing, but
yeah.
it's meditate, chew on. Kind of like how a billy goat chews on things. You're
And
supposed to
back
just
to the Billy Goat. See,
that's
full
right. Come
circle.
on,
That's what we
come on.
do.
You
But
you got to chew on things.
we're
But
gonna balance the love out,
well, we are.
because next
Because
week is what?
top 5 things of what I hate about comedy. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Um, yeah. Yeah, it's gonna be good. It's gonna be real good. Um, yeah. I love this one, and I love everything that you've said. And it's all good. It's good, girl. It's good.
Good. Well,
It's
we hope everybody
good.
has a wonderful Valentine's Day.
Yes.
We hope that
Yes.
you do know that that Jesus does love you, as I always say. I know Valentine's can be difficult for people, and just know
Yeah.
that we love you. Know that
Yeah,
Jesus
we
loves
do.
you.
Yeah, he
It's a
does.
day on the calendar, and if it's not how how you exactly wanted it to be, just know that February 15th is on the way, and listen to another episode of Laugh Support, and just know that we love you. Just do that.
For
That's how we get through.
for
That's how we get through Valentine's.
for a second, I was like, February 15th, but that's not Valentine's Day. What are you doing? And then I realized you're saying like joy comes in the morning.
Yes.
But at first you said that you really hope that, they have a good Valentine's Day, like if you have a good dinner or things like that. Because
Mm.
like last night I had some possum soup from it was made from Himalayan possum. I don't
Uh-huh.
know if you ever had that.
Yeah.
Um
Himalayan in the road.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was. He was laying in the road. He was dead, 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 dead. But did you know why a chicken crosses a road? You ever know why?
Well, hi, Michelle.
Because he needs to show the possum that it's possible.
Yeah.
Ba-da-ba! Alrighty, there you go. That's the jokes for the week,
There was no
people.
love in those jokes. No love. Friends, make sure that you are following Michelle VanDusen on
Oh,
all her social media platforms. Oh, but okay. MichelleVanDusen.org Facebook and Instagram and YouTube. She is Michelle's Comedy. Remember, it is Michelle with one L. And you can find me pretty much anywhere at Junebug Comedy, Instagram and Facebook and the Ticker Talkers and, all of that.
Junebug Clean Comedy.
Yeah, and Junebug Clean Comedy on YouTube is where you'll find me there. And to make sure that you're following us at Laugh Support, the Laugh Support Podcast, Instagram, YouTube. And if you want to reach out to us, the laughs up at gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. Send us an email. Let us know if you have a guest idea or a topic idea you would like us to talk about. And I think that's going to be it for this amazing love episode of the Laugh Support Podcast. Again, Jesus and Junebug, love you. And Michelle, tell them bye.
Love will keep us together. Thank you for listening. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba.